Hey, what's up everybody? And today we're gonna make another classic cocktail that I think you're gonna love. It's so easy to make, it's only got 3 ingredients, and it's called the Hanky Panky. And I think it's great because even though it is so simple and only has those 3 ingredients, it's more than the sum of its parts. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button if you want more Drinks with Dave. And now, let's go make the Hanky Panky. Now the Hanky Panky was created by a bartender named Ada Coleman at the Savoy Hotel in the early 1900s. Her patrons knew her as Coley. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Savoy Hotel, this was the luxurious destination for the who's who's of the era. So as you can imagine, Coley took care of a lot of famous people at that bar. In fact, in my reading, I discovered she served Mark Twain and even the Prince of Wales. But one of her devoted regulars was a famous comedic actor named Sir Charles Hawtrey. And this is important because Charles is the guy that Coley created the Hanky Panky for. Now, according to Coley, Charles was one of the best judges of cocktails that she'd ever known. And during a very busy time in his life, he used to come into the bar and he would say, "Coley, I am tired. Give me something with some punch in it." I don't really know what the guy sounded like, but I'm assuming he had an English accent, and that's the best I can do. So as the story goes, she spent hours and hours experimenting until she came up with something that she thought was the winner. And when Charles showed back up to the bar, she let him know that she had a drink waiting for him. So when he took a sip, he tasted it and he said, "By Jove, that is the Hanky Panky." And it's been the Hanky Panky ever since. Now essentially what she made was a variation on a sweet martini, or a Martinez, but she added a secret ingredient, and that ingredient was Fernet Branca. And Fernet is an Amaro, which is a bitter Italian liqueur. And these are often consumed by themselves, like after meals, because they sort of help with digestion, but they are also excellent bitter components in cocktails. Now there are many different kinds of Amaros, and despite them all existing on this spectrum of bitterness, they are all unique. They typically have loads of spices and herbs in their recipes, and depending on which cocktail you mix them into, you can pull out different flavors. And Fernet is no exception to the rule. Now Fernet's really known for its cardamom and saffron, but it also has sort of this menthol forward aspect. Now for whatever reason, Coley hit the jackpot when she decided to use Fernet Branca in the Hanky Panky. So let's talk about the other ingredients that go into the drink. Now like I said, this is a very simple drink. So to make it, we're gonna need gin, sweet vermouth, Fernet, and an orange. For the gin, I'm using Beefeater. This is a clean, dry gin, and we're sort of paying homage to the drink's roots. Now for the vermouth, I'm using Kochi, and this is the sweet element of the drink. I like Kochi because it has some elements of cocoa that really just add something to the cocktail. And the Fernet is gonna help to tie everything sort of together in the drink, as well as give it this very slight bitter finish. Now I told you guys that this was simple. It's just a base, a sweet, and a bitter. So now let's go make one. Okay, this is a stirred cocktail, so we're gonna start with a mixing glass. And to that, we're going to add 1.5 ounces of gin, then 1.5 ounces of our sweet vermouth, and 1/4 ounce of our Fernet Branca. Next, we'll add ice to the mixing glass and grab a bar spoon and give it a stir for about 25 seconds. And I like to use a frozen coupe glass and strain the cocktail off. And we're gonna cut our orange peel and then express some oil over the top of the drink and garnish. And that there is a Hanky Panky. Okay, so Charles asked for a drink with a punch in it, and he definitely got what he asked for. This has got a nice kick to it. You can really taste the gin up front. It's crisp, but then you get this sweetness and softness from the vermouth. And because the vermouth is playing such a big role, the brand that you choose is probably going to have an effect on how the drink turns out. The whole thing kind of comes together with the orange oil, and the Fernet gives it that complexity, as well as it kind of leaves the drink with a little bit of a drier finish, which is nice if you don't like really sweet cocktails. Anyway, all in all, this drink's a winner. If you have never had a Hanky Panky, I highly recommend making one. And I guess that's it for this episode. So until next time, cheers.